Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Jimu coming at you with a different video, some opinion slop for the algorithm. I'm trying to algo max on this channel. And today I'm just going to be talking about, this is going to be, I guess, a street history of dab carts and kind of little bit of dabs. And just kind of my opinion on things. So I guess let's start with dabs over the past 10 years. Dabbing 10 years ago was very different than how it is today. Today we got a lot of this, fancy schmancy technology, e-rigs, easily available quality glass. This was not the case back in the day. Back, in 2016, the glory days, it was a pretty ramshackle state of affairs, to be honest with you. I guess the standard would be like if you're dabbing, it didn't matter if you had the titanium banger, or maybe if you were really balling out there and you had one of the OG ceramic bangers. You were just throwing that. You're just throwing that into anything. Really, it didn't matter. You'd be like Jolioli, throw it into an apple, or you have just some garbage bong that you were also smoking flour out of. Dabbing wasn't really just it wasn't really understood, I'd say. And then just sort of over literally from like 2016 to 2020, that 4 year span, so much changed. Also, I'd say like things really got moving and shaking, at least from what I noticed, because just being in school and whatnot from that time, things really got moving and shaking. I'd say in 2018, that's when, because before 2018, I'd say dab pens weren't, and specifically carts didn't really exist in the current state. Like a dab pen back then, pre 2018, was a vaporizer pen, pretty much, where it had a heating coil on the inside, and you would have to load in oil physically to get hits of. And the batteries always sucked, and like at least in my experience, they never really worked that well. Anyways, 2018, that's when I started noticing carts coming out, and carts initially were absolute ass, and they were just low quality, just shattered, stuffed in there with some glycol, vitamin E acetate or whatever. And a lot of them were fake too, but like what was common with all carts at that time, I'd say, is dog shit oil quality and these very awful flavors, shit like cinnamon apple honey bun, Oreo cookie cream, that kind of shit. And it was just everywhere, and people were making money hand over fist because they were selling these cards for like $40, because it was still like a new technology at the time. And you felt like you were balling out if you were hitting the fucking cart, dude. And then also, I'd say around that time, maybe it was 2019. The Puffco came out. Maybe my time scale, maybe that was 2020, but the Puffco came out, and honestly, I'm not a big fan of the Puffco. I think the Puffco is an overrated hunk of garbage. If you're going to be taking dabs, you should do it old school, not on the titanium banger, but glass banger. Some MJ Arsenal rigs, something like that, some quality glass, just like a little rig. Heat it up right, wait fucking 15 seconds, and, just get yourself a good hit. Puffco, I get it's convenient, you don't need the torch or whatever, but I don't know. I like that. That's why I like dabbing of that era, because it was it was a raw experience, man. Just hitting a red hot some like dark tree sap looking shatter off a titanium nail and coughing your lungs out for 5 minutes. People just don't have that anymore. Now it's all about the disposables. It's all about the carts. And the disposables, I'd say that's probably been the most recent development in dabbing, is the disposable. And I don't know. I like them. They're convenient and whatnot. Of course they're going to be a bit more pricey, but a lot of people always bitched and moaned about kids smoking weed or whatever. And I think, and this goes with vapes too in a way. Like these kind of restrictions made it easier to get a hold of, man. What's easier than having a dab pen that's the size of a USB that you can charge with your phone charger and you can hit and rip all day long, and like it has next to no smell. Within 3 minutes, that smell dissipates. But I don't know. I'm not a dare officer. This has just been a brief opinion. Overall, though, I'd say carts pretty midway to get high. Actually, dabbing's great, and I preferably just smoke actual weed, man. Get away from this electronic nonsense. But yeah, this has been Jimu Francis, and I'm out.